Hello everyone, Sparrow Vision. Welcome to my channel. Now this is Ray Carlisle. He is a good comedian, and just listen to him. Now this is a little bit long, but the jokes and they're just good, clean jokes. Anybody can listen to them, so you don't have to have your kids out of the room. But just listen to it. It takes me back when I drove. One of the persons I loved listening to was Gene Tracy. And every truck stop, just about every single truck stop, when I first started driving a truck, you can find Gene Tracy cassette tapes. He has over, I think, 100 of them, over 100 of his cassette tapes. It's all truck stop comedy, rated X. he gets right down with it. And then also, this was when CDLs was first starting to come into an effect. CDLs are commercial driver's license that every driver now has to have in order to drive a truck. Before that, all you had to do was have a chauffeur's driver's license. And what has changed is when drivers would get so many points on their driver's license, they would just go to a different state and get a new driver's license. Go to a different state, get a new driver's license. So that's how CDL now, if you go to a state and you get a driver's license, they can now track to see how many driver's licenses you actually have. If you have more than one, you can get suspended, revoked, take away your CDL. They don't play games anymore. Now the CDL is good for every state in the U.S. You just need that one CDL. That's it. But anyway, listen to this. This is Ray Carlisle.
Man, that was a good steak. And it was free, too. I was sitting out west Oak City at exit 140 here a while back, and old Double T, a buddy of mine, come in there with a load of cows. He just loaded down there at the stockyards there in Oak City. And he said his load was going to Dalhart, but he said he really didn't feel good. So, hell, I told him I didn't have nothing else to do. Get back here and go to sleep, and I'll run this load up there. So I went on up there that night and got unloaded and was coming south out of Dalhart that night, and it was real foggy. And there's another northbound cow truck hollered at me and told me, he said he thought he seen a Holstein steer sitting down there on the shoulder of the road about 2 miles out of town. And that's when I heard old Double T start laughing back there in that old sleeper. He said, that's that mailbox down there, them horns on it. I started telling all them northbounders, said, northbound? I said, it looked like you had a Holstein deer up there on the shoulder of the road. And they said they'd keep an eye out for it. Anyway, we was east of Amarillo that morning, about 6:30 in the morning, come back to Oak City, and the old fog, it was real foggy that night. That old fog was starting to lift, and everybody was starting to gain up a little bit of speed, and I looked in that old mirror, and I seen this old chicken truck coming up in that hammer lane. He grabbed that old mic and said, come on, cow truck, let's go. So he come on up alongside me and smiled and went on by, and before I gave him a chance to move back over in that right-hand lane, I shot up there beside him. I pulled up alongside of him, grabbed that old mic, and leaned down there, and I said, chicken truck, did you say something? He started laughing. He said, yeah. I said, come on, cow truck, let's go. And I said, well, hell, let's go. That's when I shifted Double T's truck into that last gear, and buddy, next thing I know, he's way back here in that mirror, moving over in that right-hand lane. I hollered at him and said, come on up here, chicken truck, I'll let you run that door while we're still in Texas. So he come on up here and got up there on that front door, and that's when I wrote this little tune. It goes like this. Everywhere you look, you can write a book about the troubles of a truck driving man. But you just can't impose, you can't stick your nose into something that you don't understand. Well, I was driving in the fog, didn't even keep a just east of Amarillo somewhere. It finally got where I could see it was me and Double T. We had his empty cow trailer back there. Well, I had another gear. When I looked into the mirror, I saw this chicken truck coming up behind. So I shifted once more, and when I put it to the floor, I left that triple-digit chicken truck behind. Everywhere you look, you can write a book about the features of a cow hauling man. But you just can't impose, you can't stick your nose into something that you don't understand. And that's probably something you just don't understand. Boy, that driver begged me to pull over up there at Walmart, and he's going to buy a recorder. He wanted a copy of that. I told him he could get it on one of my next tapes. So anyway, we crossed that Oklahoma line. I told him, I said, driver, I'll take that front door now. And I jumped out there in front of him, and I was hammered down, running about 112, and he's running about 111, trying to keep up with me. I come up on these two freight haulers running side by side down that old interstate, hammered down, 66 mile an hour, you know. I hollered back at that chicken truck. I said, driver, they got that old interstate blocked up here. That median looks pretty level. I said, hell, let's just go down the median. We'll go around them. He said, let's do it. So I went down the median. I went around them two freight haulers, and I went, whoop. And that old chicken hauler, he went down the median. He went around them two freight haulers, and he went, whoop. And all them two freight haulers heard was, whoop, whoop. You know what you get if a cow hauler and a chicken hauler hit head on? You know what you get? Steak and eggs. The last load of cows I loaded, I loaded them backwards, and I got to going down the road about 115 mile an hour, and it blew them all up, and they fired me. You know how cow haulers are practicing safe sex? They're putting X's on the ones that kick. I heard they had a cow truck turn over there by a big cabin the other day. They said the driver had on a load of sheep. When he went around one of them Swift trucks, all them sheep ran over to one side of that trailer like they recognized that driver and turned that truck over. About 10 years ago, me and a friend of mine from Wichita, we rented us one of those Lincoln Town cars. We went on a vacation for a week, and we went down to the French Quarters and then on over to El Paso and back into Wichita. I'd hooked us up to CB radio, of course. We were northbound on 35, still in Oklahoma, coming up on those rest areas around the 223 yardstick, and this gal comes over the radio and said, if anybody wanted any company to go down channel 17. So I went down there and said, yeah, where you at? She says she's over there in that southbound rest area. As I was listening to her, I glanced up there in that northbound rest area, and there was this big, pretty, canary yellow cow truck parked right there as you go into the rest area. And about that time, she asked me where I was at. And that's when I told her that I was in this northbound pickle park over here in this big, pretty, canary yellow cow truck. She came back and said she was just over there, and I told her that I didn't want any company. And that's when I said, I know, sugar, I've changed my mind, so come on back over here. I told her that I'd be back there in the sleeper waiting for her. She said she is on her way, and that's when I told her that I'd leave that passenger door unlocked for her, but I said the passenger door sticks, so you have to yank on it real hard a couple times to get it open. Well, as Keith and I passed by, it just so happened that cow hauler was in his sleeper, probably just making him a line on his logbook. As we passed by, I watched her in my mirror running across that median, and I've always wondered to this day whatever happened in that big, pretty, canary yellow cow truck in that northbound pickle park. How about one of you drivers come over here and help me slide my tandems? I'm over in this black Peterbilt alongside the scales pulling this cow trailer. Whoop and ride.
Oh, that takes me back. You know, there are drivers out there who pull tricks like that on other drivers.
Milo's Rewards is here. Join for free.
So that's why they tell you always keep your doors locked. Don't ever, ever, ever go to sleep with your doors unlocked for that purpose right there. There's even drivers who, if they get mad at another driver for some reason, they'll pull that pin to release the trailer, so when they take off, that trailer will fall down to the ground. I've seen it happen several different times at truck stops. Now, like I said before, I used to teach people how to drive trucks. Give you a couple of stories here. These are true stories, I swear to God. You can't make this up. This big old boy, I mean, he was 6'9", I think is what, a big old boy. And I call him a boy, but he was older than I am when I was trying to train him. And every time he would get behind the wheel, he would just stomp that fuel pedal, just stomp it, and always stall the truck out. And so after about 5 or 6 times from doing that, it's okay, let's switch because we got to get this load going down the road. And so now I'm talking to him. And I said, buddy, I said, you know, when you drive a big truck like this, you got to drive it like you do your car. When you get in, you don't just stomp on your gas pedal, you ease it on down, right? He goes, I don't know. I said, what do you mean you don't know? You know, it's like when you drive your car, you can't just get in there and just stomp on your gas. You'll spin your tires out. You know, I said, so you got to treat it like that. You got to treat it real gentle and ease down on that pedal. You know, treat it just like you do when you drive at home. He goes, well, I don't drive at home. So what do you mean you don't drive at home? You got a driver's license, right? He goes, yeah. I said, well, you want to drive a truck, right? He goes, yeah. I said, well, what do you mean you don't drive at home? He goes, I don't. So you're telling me you don't drive? He goes, no. Who drives? He goes, my wife. Then why are you trying to drive a truck for a living if you don't drive? He goes, I've always wanted to drive a truck. Nah, they don't work like that. I called my dispatcher, took him to the next truck stop. I'm sure they found him a way home. It don't work like that. Another one is when we were going through training, they fired an instructor because the instructor come in. He goes, now I'm going to tell you guys something. He said, when you drive in fogs, get in that left lane and just keep right on going, because everybody's always going to be in the right lane in a fog because they can't see. So you can be in that left lane, go right on down the road. Common sense tells you can't do that, because I mean, if you can't see in front of you, how do you know whether you're not coming up on an accident or anything else? You got to take caution no matter what you do. So when they found out what he was telling everybody, they let him go real quick, because common sense, you just don't do that. But I just want to share along these little stories with you, especially coming across this guy here. Just brings me back some memories. Anyway, if you like what you hear, hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. If you have something that you want me to listen to and play, give me a call at 765-388-4672. Until next time.